say.
Because I'm not that old.
Well, however you want to look at it, that's very fine. Anyway, the point is that through the gathering of that dog do, I began this organic mission of having this show with Gil. And so I had always thought I'd take pictures myself. And I had seen Gil's pictures and thought, wow, he saw stuff that I didn't see. And he's that good at it. And I said, guacamole, that's hard. That's hard for me to rationalize. And so ultimately, I'd seen Gil lots of times, and I said, I ended up with his card. And so I called about a month ago and said, I have this idea that we can do this show. Africa, LA, Ole. And it's like, how perfect. And it's always about the name, right? Just kidding. But it is fun to name shows. And so that's how it began. That's how it happened. And it happened very quickly. And among the other adventures that were so fun in making this show happen was that many of you see that many of these photographs are framed, which was indeed fortuitous because when we started talking, there was no talk about what was the condition or how the works were going to be displayed. So they were all at the UCLA Law School. And Gil and I went over and put little sticky things on the ones that we chose. And then a few days later, I got to come back with my motley gang, my wife, and my son Russell and his girlfriend on a Sunday. And we plundered the place. We stole all their art, and it was great. It was so fun to be pushing along a dolly and see these very proper chaps, I say. You see, with their bow ties and such, and say, don't worry, it's a daylight robbery. Anyway, we were with the proper people, and it was all part of the same thing. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being a part of this. It really is a wonderful opportunity to see how we all have so much in common, that it's just a matter of time before the inevitability clock ticks and we're all in the same pod together. So let's enjoy all this, and thank you all, and Gil Garcetti.
It's hard for me to believe this, really. I mean, it's been almost 18 years since the voters told me to go and find something else to do. But if they hadn't, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have these things up on the wall. It would be a different life entirely. So it's really been a glorious opportunity that came my way when I wasn't very happy when they told me what to do. But it's worked out. And it's been kind of a unique experience with Ernie. And I want to thank Ernie. I want to thank Diane. I want to thank his whole family, because this was a family effort. What you've been eating over there, I mean, I saw this guy making it. I said, it's like this, that he was pouring all his magic ingredients into it to do it. So it's really done in a very special way. But there's some other people, obviously, I want to thank too. I want to thank my wife, Suki. She was here. She was always very supportive of me going off into a new direction, leaving law behind, trying something else. And my son and daughter have been supportive. I know Eric was here. I don't know if he still is. Oh, there he is. I think some of you know that both Dana, my daughter, will be here later. She and one of her sons, my grandson Calix, are in Chinese class right now. So they'll be here. But I think some of you know that Eric was a published photographer before I was. So I want. So I want him to stay in office as long as he can, either in this office or some other office.
Yeah, come on.
Suzanne Childs is a dear friend who really helped me. She forced me to look at the Protea photographs that are in the other room and said, what do you want? What are you trying to say on this? And she can be very straightforward, and she was. And I finally came together with, I think, what I was trying to say. In fact, I'm positive. But then this man right here, Larry Livingston, is also a man I want to call out and thank. Because Larry and I have been friends, and here's a man who is a conductor, a professor of conducting. He plays all classical instruments, and he was the dean of the School of Music at USC. And I knew him, not in that capacity, but through another organization that we belong in. One day, about a year or so ago, he came up to me and said, Gil, I know you're working on this project. You know I do some writing. No, I didn't know you did some writing. So maybe I can contribute something to the project. And I said, okay. I've always done my books alone, right? Photographs, I interview the people, put the quotes in, etc., that kind of thing. So I said, let me send you 10 photographs. If any of them inspire you, show me what you write. He took all 10, and he was inspired, maybe I'm putting words in his mouth, on each of the 10. He is now the person, when the book comes out, you will see it. It's about 3 weeks the book comes out, where he has about 50% of the 120 or so photographs. He has written prose. They're wonderful prose. You can go into there though, and you'll see samples of this prose. He is speaking as if he is the flower. And some of it is funny, some of it is political, some of it is very thoughtful. You have to read it a second time. Now, what does he mean? Some big words there. You have to have a dictionary at times to look at that. But they were marvelous. And he really adds a different element to this. So when you see those photographs, be sure that you read the prose that is there. But I'm going to ask Larry, before I finish my comments, if you would like to say anything about your role in this.
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you all for coming. The adventure that we've had has been really priceless in so many ways. First of all, I actually believe that every human being has within himself or herself an artist. Some of us never discover what that is. But let me tell you a brief anecdote. I figured that out about 15 years ago when in our house in Pasadena, we had a problem with the shower leaking. And we heard the word shower pan, which is a word you don't want to hear. And so they had to excavate the tile and redo the whole thing. And so as the tile was being laid back in, I was shaving, looking in the mirror, and behind me on his hands and knees was this guy who was moving the trowel like it was ballet. And I thought, wow, he's not in a hurry. And so I asked him, I said, what are you doing? And he said, this is a troweling technique. He said, I'm French. This is a troweling technique that's been in our family for 150 years. And there's only one speed for us because it's a form of dance. Then I realized, aha, he's found it. So one of the remarkable things about this experience is that here's a guy who's supposed to be the district attorney, who's actually a great artist. And without this bump in the road, you know, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, no relationship, said every problem brings a gift, right? So all of a sudden he's driving by the Getty, it's being constructed, and the result is what you see is this masterful idea of the extent to which the human eye can extract from an image something that creates not just a picture, but a photograph. There's a difference. So when Gil and I decided to do this project, I thought it would be fun to experiment in a very cryptic way with what kinds of captions I could write. So as you look at them, you may see what prompted me, you may not. Some of them I did instantly. Some of them took a few days. It depended. I mean, I've done a lot of writing in my life, but this has been the most wonderful adventure, in part because the discipline necessary to make it short has actually grown my technique as a writer. So I hope that you enjoy them. When the book comes out, I think there are maybe as many as 60 of these photos with captions. And they have no purpose other than to imagine while you're looking at the flowers, they're looking at you. And so you think about a conversation of the mind, which was the whole idea. And some of them are a little bodacious. Some of them are philosophical, some are quasi-political. Although in terms of importance of art in our world today, I won't go into any details, I hope you can fill in the blank, but we have never more needed it than now. So anyway, thank you for your kindness and for coming today. I hope you enjoy them, and the book will be awesome. Thank you.
I have one last thing I'd like to say, and I waited until the proper moment, but Gil and I both suffer, well, it's not exactly suffering, but we got bitchin' kids.
We do.
And our kids are here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I want to say that.
If you haven't gone into the other room, go into the other room, look at it. And even with some of these photographs, I was thinking about it this morning. You know, music and art, photography, they're all interrelated. Everyone in this room has a favorite piece of music. I bet. It could be classical, it could be pop, it could be anything, it might be multi. But then you hear something new and clicks, right? And it stays with you. That can happen as you go through these photographs. And then what I want you to do is take one home with you. Let it live within you. And I guarantee you, if you do this thing, if you buy one of those photographs and you wind up taking it home, and you go by and you look at it every day, and you stop and just take 30 seconds to look at it, read his prose there, you will see different things, new things that you didn't see the first time. And it's so important in life to be able to do that. And we have that ability as human beings. And as Larry said, right now in the world that we're in, we need this kind of recipe. And I'm glad this came out at this time, totally unexpected. I've never put together an exhibition in 5 weeks, but we did it, and it's really worked. So take a look at it, and I haven't told Larry this, but I know that Larry is willing to do this. If you buy something, there's no prose to it, he'll write original prose for you, right?
Yes. In the moment. In the moment.
In the moment. So take a look at it. And the very last thing, I think you know this, it's probably on the price list, 50% of all the proceeds from the African photograph go directly to Wellspring. Barbara Goldberg is the founder, she's right here. And 50%. If you were to purchase anything else, 10% will go to Wellspring Hope. So, and this is, when you, just remember this one thing. See the girl who's at the chalkboard there, next to the big photograph? That is what Wellspring Hope for me is all about. Enabling girls to go to school every day rather than collecting water every day. That's not going to just change their village, their country. It changes the world when girls can go to school. So thank you for being here.